Coming up on Network Africa, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni takes early lead in the country's presidential vote count. A new variant of the coronavirus has been detected in Kenya. Plus, Rwanda's central bank chief economist Thomas Kigbagbo dies of complications from COVID-19. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Preliminary results released by Uganda's Electoral Commission shows that President Yoweri Museveni has taken a significant early lead in the presidential race. Mr. Museveni has garnered over 1.5 million votes, while his main rival, Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, has 647,146 votes from 8,310 polling stations. Now, the country has a total of 34,684 polling stations. Meanwhile, Ugandan opposition candidate Bobi Wine has rejected the results that has been declared so far and calls himself the president-elect, despite the electoral body saying not all votes have yet been counted. Bobi Wine alleges Thursday's polls saw the worst vote rigging in Uganda's history, and he claims that he has video evidence of fraud, though he's yet to share any evidence to back up his claims. He, however, says the struggle is just beginning and the military have now surrounded his house. Well, let's get more updates on this story. Joining us now is a Ugandan journalist, Halima Atumani, for more on this. Thank you so much, Halima, for speaking to us. Now, we understand Museveni is leading in early results. What more can you tell us?
Yes, please. Today we actually have provisional results coming in. So far, the Electoral Commission has announced provisional results 4 times. They will be making their last announcement at around 5 p.m. Local time. And as far as the results are concerned, President Museveni is leading with 65% of the vote, and Bobi Wine has 27% of the vote. But then these results that have been sent in are only provisional results from 11,909 polling stations out of the 34,684 polling stations, which are a representation of about 34.34% of the total polling stations. So more results are yet to come in, and I think we'll be knowing a little bit more at 5 p.m. local time, and that is when we will get to know a bit more from the Electoral Commission. But so far, Bobi Wine is the second candidate while President Museveni is leading with 65%, as far as the Electoral Commission is concerned.
Is crying foul. He says the internet and social media shutdown is compromising the vote. What has been the reaction to this, especially from the Electoral Commission, to his claim?
Well, Bobi Wine has made a number of allegations. The allegations range from ballot stuffing, rigging, military involvement in ballot stuffing and checking of ballots, beating up of his agents, threats to media houses from just some of the irregularities that have been seen in some districts in the country. He's made allegations that some districts people were only given voting, because yesterday the vote was supposed to be for both the member of parliament and the president. And according to Bobi Wine, some places had only people voting for the legislators and not necessarily the president. So all these allegations are there, but we cannot ascertain and confirm these allegations, because yes, there's been a shutdown, but as much as the government has shut down the rest of the country, the Electoral Commission is still able to access However, they are assessing the results because those results have to be sent from the district, from the local districts within the country, and then sent into the system at the National Tally Center, which is ongoing. But speaking to the Electoral Commission, they say, well, these are just speculations and allegations, and for now they are only going to focus on releasing results, which they are doing. So if anyone, for example, Bobby Wine himself, is contesting these results that they are releasing, they know the right procedure to follow, to file their complaints, and I think what they're literally telling him is if you have a problem with our results, please go to court.
Well, just before I let you go, Halima, what's the mood between the citizens? You know, are there fears of violence, especially as Bobby Wine is saying he is the president-elect, and he also said the military has surrounded his house? How are citizens, you know, reacting to this?
Well, currently, Ugandans are still calm, but I also think it's not just because they are calm. I think there's also an anxiety, there's also fear. So people are just literally waiting to see what's coming up, and probably some of them are going to be very disappointed because of the results that are coming in. So for now, I think, yeah, for example, what happened during the time is that everything seems to be normal. Like last evening, as soon as tallying started, we saw a higher and stronger presence of the army on the streets. So that alone also sends, I think, a message from the government that, you know, we are watching you. And at one of the polling stations where I was at, the army came and the police came. They arrested a couple of people. So all of these actions by the army, you know, it sends a sense of fear among the people, and I think people are just basically going to decide to sit back and wait to see whatever results come from the electoral commission. They probably will accept it. But we're waiting to see, because, you know, both Ryan is calling on Ugandans to reject these results. Whether the Ugandans are going to heed to his call or they will not is the other question.
All right, then we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you so much, Halima Asumani, Ugandan journalist. Thank you for your reporting. Now we'll move on to Somalia, where a United Nations delegation has visited the southwest states to discuss ways in which the world body can assist the federal member states in a range of areas in this year 2021. In his remarks, the UN Special Representative flagged some examples of the world's body local support, adding that some of the innovative projects currently underway are models that can inform the work of the United Nations in other locations in Somalia. The projects include the UN Support Office in Somalia and the Southwest State Government working together to improve the local environment through a scheme to plant 6 million trees around the country, with some 200,000 of those tree seedlings to be planted near Baidoa.
It's the first of our visits to the federal member states in the new year, and we have come to discuss with the President and his ministers the work of the United Nations in support of Southwest State. This ranges from support for ongoing reconciliation, security, and stabilization efforts to providing humanitarian and development assistance. I also particularly came along with this delegation to listen to what the Southwest State authorities hope for and expect from the United Nations in 2021, so that we can better work together to ensure the needs of the people and that those of Southwest State are also met.
South Africa's Western Cape government, led by the opposition Democratic Alliance, says it will seek to secure additional COVID-19 vaccine doses for the province. Premier Alan Winde said in a statement that while the provincial government is happy about the 1.5 million vaccine doses the national government managed to procure for January and February, this is not enough for the general population. An additional 20 million vaccine doses are expected in the country in June. But the Western Cape government says it plans to pursue its own vaccine procurement because the national government failed to order enough doses on time for the majority of the population. Meanwhile, scores of Malawian immigrants are voluntarily returning from South Africa as the country battles the second wave of COVID-19. The returnees, who have been quarantined in a prison facility by the Malawian government, vandalized and looted the facility over delays in their release process.
Scores of Malawians who returned from South Africa over fears of hunger as the country battles the second wave of the coronavirus vandalized and burnt a prison facility in Blantyre, where they were kept for days following their arrival.
We wanted to force their way out, and in the process, it's possible that some of them may have broken out.
About 40 men were arrested, and footage showed them walking around and chained. It is not clear what caused the destruction. However, a returnee said there was no clear communication from authorities about their release. 36-year-old Kambani Mwale, who lived in South Africa for 13 years, working as a waiter, was also part of the arrested group, who was released immediately for not inciting violence.
When we arrived here, they tested us and promised to give us results the next morning by 9 o'clock. We patiently waited for our results after 9 o'clock, and looking at how tired we were and the unexplained days, people with some ringleaders started vandalizing this.
Malawi is processing hundreds of returnees and from South Africa who are struggling to survive the country's tough lockdown regulations.
While in South Africa, we encountered some unbearable conditions. When the lockdown entered the 5th level, many of us were out of job and we could not sustain our lives. We were getting help from well-wishers. As I speak now, many more are struggling.
A COVID-19 positive returnee, Kefa Msafili, says she's happy with the process.
I'm not worried, but now I'm very happy because now I know that I have the coronavirus and I'll be treated accordingly. I will also follow all the instructions as directed so that I get better.
As of January 13th, Malawi has reported close to 10,000 COVID-19 cases with 275 deaths.
A new variant of the coronavirus has been detected in Kenya. Now, that's according to a preliminary research conducted by the state-linked Kenya Medical Research Institute. The variant, which is said to be unique to Kenya, was detected in the southeast of the country following a study done between June and October. However, more research needs to be done to assess the impact of the variant. So far, the country has recorded nearly 100,000 cases of COVID-19 and more than 1,700 deaths. Well, in the meantime, Rwanda's central bank chief economist Thomas Kigbabo has died from complications due to COVID-19. He died while receiving treatment at a hospital in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Mr. Kigbabo had been the chief economist at the central bank for more than 10 years. He was also a university lecturer and a preacher. He's the first high-profile government official to succumb to COVID-19 in the country. Rwanda has so far recorded more than 10,000 cases of the virus with 133 deaths. Still on the COVID-19 pandemic, the Gambia has recorded its first 2 cases of a coronavirus strain first detected in the UK. Health Minister Amadou Samate told lawmakers that the strain was detected in 2 people entering the country. A second official, Director of Health Services Mustafa Bitaye, says the first case was a man who had travelled from the UK, while the other was a Gambian woman. The ministry says it is tracking down the origins of this transmission. Still ahead on the program. Our Africa Tech segment takes a look at how you can be more cyber secure in 2021. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Back here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, alongside other dignitaries, are honoring fallen heroes of Nigeria as the nation commemorates its 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. At the National Arcade in Abuja, President Buhari inspected the National Guards upon arrival and then moved on to lay a wreath alongside the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. Other top officials in attendance are the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, among others. Wreath-laying ceremonies are also holding in other states across the country. The Nigerian Armed Forces Remembrance Day is a day set aside for sober reflections on the significance of the armed forces to the country.
We are honoring them today. We have some of them. That's number 5 guard on this parade. So there are 5 guards on parade. 1 and 2 provided by the Nigerian Army. 3 and 4 by the Nigerian Navy and the Nigerian Air Force. And number 5 are some of the providentially fortunate ones who saw action at various times, but they are here today in person. There are 4 colors on parade. The national color, and the regimental colors of the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force, respectively.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. We will be discussing cybersecurity, which is a major concern for many people in the online space and remains top priority for anyone who uses the internet. Surely you wouldn't want to have your private information, conversations in public, which is why analysts suggest the use of encrypted messaging apps. Now, this means that service providers, government officials, fellow employees, and more importantly, hackers cannot view your personal details. However, some cybersecurity analysts are not so confident in a third-party application. They say even though security and privacy settings might give users some control over the safety of their data, the users are still at the mercy of the owners of the platform. So, what implication could this have on the use of mainstream instant messaging apps? Well, today on the segment, we have a cybersecurity analyst, Chibuike Good News, joining us now to discuss with us how best to be cybersecurity conscious in the digital space. Thank you so much, Chibuike Good News, for speaking to us on Africa Tech.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me begin by asking, what are some of the emerging trends in the cybersecurity privacy landscape that we have today?
Yeah, some of the things is the fact that the criminals are getting as smart as the legit guys, and the criminals are also implementing some of the things that were already there before. But the key things we need to be sure of the fact that we have to use websites and applications that are quite secured. We also need to make sure that our devices are also secured and that we're not sharing those things. And also the fact that criminals are using other things of denying people access to some things, or sometimes they send you an email and ask you that you have an attachment, and once you click that attachment, maybe all the password that you have on your browser downloads on their system, and then with that they can harvest other information that they have. There are also other things that they give you some jackpot, they give you some freebies, or make you feel that you have won something. All those things are just to get your details, which they will use to harvest other things. But the key things they are looking for are payment information, card information, and then all those things they could use to make payments.
Now, a lot of people are on social media, and one trend that seems to be happening that people are talking about is some changes Facebook, brought into WhatsApp. Now, what does this mean to the everyday individual? Because some people would argue that the sharing of information with Facebook is not today. It's it's actually been part of their terms long before now. What's your take on that?
Actually, sharing of information with Facebook has always been there, but WhatsApp has given people some level of comfort when they are using it. That's a two-way encryption. But since Facebook bought WhatsApp 2014, they've been looking for ways to monetize that. And right now, they want to integrate that into the Facebook mainstream. But that's not something we should be scared of, because let me give you an idea of how how this kind of security works. If you are browsing or you're doing Facebook with your friend and you're sending your pictures, or maybe your boyfriend and you're sending your pictures, and tomorrow your boyfriend wants to take you to a restaurant, Facebook uses that data and said, hey, somebody like this wants to go to a restaurant, but the person he didn't take your name. He didn't take your phone number. He didn't take your personal IDs, but it tells a restaurant to send you an advert. Now, for some people, that's offensive, because how did you know that I want to go to a restaurant? How do you know that I want to do certain things? But the key thing they are picking here are social information that help them for targeting, that help them to identify what people are doing, and browsing, just like browsing logs. But they're never going to pick your payment details. They're never going to take your email addresses, and they're never going to take your phone numbers. So the day they start taking up to the point of using your phone numbers for advertising or using your email addresses, then that's the time that we have to be very, very cautious. But as it is now, there's really nothing much to worry about, because it has always been a giant advertising company, and they have always harnessed everything in their reach to get users and then start advertising. So implementing that on WhatsApp is not new, and it's not different from what they've always been doing.
All right, then. Thank you so much, cybersecurity analyst Chibuike. Good news. Thank you for joining us on Africa Tech. Well, a young Nigerian boy, Chinonso Eche, has set a world record for the most consecutive soccer ball touches in 1 minute while balancing a second ball on his head. The 12-year-old, who has become an online sensation, says he's planning to take his skills global when he grows up. And that's it on Network Africa for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Have a great weekend.